Hey everybody, welcome. We are back with an episode of the Boo Bros podcast, if you want to call it that. It's going to be a little bit different today because we only have one topic, but it's a pretty substantial topic. But even more substantial than that is the people we have with us on the show today. First of all, we've got Michael from Hallowed Thrills. We've got the man himself, Edutainment, of course, and Adrian from Lash TV, the godfather of the Boo Bros. That's him right there, folks. So a little bit of news came out today. Well, I guess you wouldn't really call it news. It's a speculation, but it's a very significant part of the community that came out today. Version 1 of Horror Night Nightmares speculation map for this year's Halloween Horror Nights. So we'll just off the bat, first impression, Michael, what did you think of it?
There's a couple properties on there that I'm kind of about, but I mean, for the most part, I think it's a pretty decent looking slate so far. I know there have been rumblings already of things that are 100% not coming, that people have already been like, yeah, don't get too attached.
Yeah,
but
it is version
but
1 after all, and it's
but
March.
unfortunately, people are keeping their lips sealed for the time being. Which, I mean, it's good for the speculation, but it's also kind of annoying because I want to know. I want to know.
Their
Give me what I want.
Their lips aren't sealed well enough for this map wouldn't exist.
This is true.
This is a fair point. This is a fair point.
I mean,
go ahead.
Starting off though, probably right off the bat, my number one most hyped on there is probably, I'm gonna be honest, probably the El Chupacabra.
Ooh.
Because I love that concept, and the Chupacabra is, hopefully they bring that into sort of the urban legends concept. Hopefully they tie it into there. I doubt it, but we'll see.
So I know a couple of you guys make your speculation videos. Were any of you on target here? Adrian, we're both of you, right? Wait, Eddie, do you make speculation? Okay.
I make speculation videos, but I didn't do one yet.
Okay. So where were you at, Adrian? What'd you get right? Take your credit.
Monsters, where Monsters was for everyone, because I'm pretty sure everyone that speculated said Monsters. Fear Street, Evil Dead, and Halloween.
Wow.
Yeah, that's everything that I thought was actually going to come. But there's a lot of other stuff that I said that I didn't think was going to happen. But again, this is version 1, so anything can change. But so far, 4, pretty solid. Go ahead, Mike.
Are we talking about like the very first speculation that we made that was just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks? Or are we talking about like in general before this map came out?
Oh, before the map came out, I guess? That would make the most sense. Well, my first speculation is the only one where I said those 4 properties.
Okay, yeah, because in my second speculation, I had Monsters, Fear Street, and Chupacabra. Because the Chupacabra was the only one that was really being majorly speculated and rumored by a lot of people.
True.
And we lost
Eddie. We lost Eddie.
I'm here.
Chupacabra got him, guys.
I'm here.
El Chupacabra came up.
You guys can still hear me?
Yeah.
But here's the real thing about El Chupacabra. What if it ends up being El Kukui? Like how they had it out in Hollywood. No. Because they're getting an original house that we had. And of course, we're getting one that they had too, but I don't think that's actually happening. But
Chupacabra's better.
El Chupacabra could actually be turned into El Kukui.
Chupacabra's better.
I should probably say, again, this is all pure speculation, nothing confirmed by Universal yet. But I'll go ahead and just run down what's actually on the map and where they're at. So when you look at those front 4 soundstage houses, they've listed Universal Monsters, The Mummy vs. the Wolfman, a Seaside Village original, Fear Street, and then The Last of Us. In the Men in Black tent is The Curse of Pandora's Box, which was a Hollywood original previously. In your 2 sprung tents, you got Chupacabra and Underground Creatures, which is another original idea. 2 parade buildings, Evil Dead and Halloween. And then in the fear, or not fear factor, what? In the Fast and Furious area, the Weeknd. So that's weird for a couple reasons. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, that only runs on weekdays.
Do we just want to run through each one and get everybody's opinions?
I think that might be the best thing to do, if we're being honest. We want to start with A, or you want to start with J?
Well, you know what? Let's start with A. Which is
alphabetical.
Yeah. And and also, by the way, there is the Marathon of Mayhem currently as the only show being speculated, which is, yeah, I mean, it would be right up there always. So, but starting with A is Monsters, Mummy versus Wolfman.
And where is that located?
That would be the soundstage that uses the Music Plaza queue.
Okay.
Same place as Bride.
All right.
I, for one, would be very excited about this. They always do the monsters justice. And actually, the Mummy was my favorite part of the Monsters Maze in 29. So anytime I can see that again, that'd be great. But what do you guys think?
I'm interested. I'm kind of upset that Creature's not there. It's very confusing that they would pair Wolfman with Mummy. If anything, I would just rather have them give Mummy his own house by himself. But it has been rumored that it's supposedly going to be a versus house. So yeah, I don't think that we're going to get a standalone monster house. I think it's going to be some sort of versus house. But yeah, I'm just not too sure where they're going to go with Mummy versus Wolfman, because they don't really.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of movie or anything that came out regarding the both of them? Yeah.
And this is the thing with this house is, like, again, if this were to happen, this would be pretty high on my hype list, I think, but it is weird because it does seem a bit random.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like there were some other monsters ideas that they could have taken and really made a good continuation on the Bride's house. You could have Dracula. He's all mad because the Bride stole all the lady vampires. But then Dracula comes and he's like, yo, that's not going to fly. And then there's the Creature, which obviously everyone was kind of hoping for Creature because Creature had that little Easter egg in the Bride house. So this feels a little bit random, but I still think it's a cool idea. I don't know. What do you think, Eddie?
So I'm kind of with Michael. Them together seems kind of weird, but I would like either or just a Monsters house, period. The original Monsters house in Orlando was my favorite, and Creature's portion was by far the most impressive in my eyes, and that facade entering. So a Monsters house just in general, but I am kind of thrown off by the verses with these two guys.
Yeah, what do you think, Adrian?
I really like the concept. However, I don't know how well they're going to execute it. They've never been in like a matchup against each other. So I look at this as like a wrestling card, and this is your main event, something you've never seen before that's going to be grand. And if you really think about it, Wolfman had one of the best scares in that Universal Monsters house. That statue scare. And then that other best scare was probably the Mummy.
Yeah.
Besides Frankenstein at the end, but those two scares they were just great scares.
I loved the Mummy room because the Mummy would get so close to you and freak you out really bad. And I for some reason I really liked the audio triggers in that area. I just thought they were really sick, so I'd love to see those come back. I'm sure they probably will.
I can just see the scenery being like old ancient Egypt, and then maybe the Wolfman has ended up here, has taken something that belongs to the Mummy, upset the Mummy, and then
what's going to be the catalyst for this fight? You know, that's the big question.
That's the big question there.
Yeah. Anyone have anything else to add about that one? No.
I think we can move forward.
Well,
to the next one.
In the next spot, which going off of the speculation map would be in the spot that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was in last year, would be Seaside Village, which is an original concept. Honestly, I know there's like, you know, literally nothing on this, but it's probably my most anticipated because it kind of gives you little echoes of a certain scare zone from 26. That being Dead Man's Wharf, of course. Maybe, you know, that's the first thing that came to my mind. But I also just love the idea of that as a setting. I think that could be pretty cool. What do you guys think?
The font gives me Vikings vibes.
Vikings. Okay.
That's why I said when I said that in the
Yeah.
group chat, I was like, it immediately gave me Vikings Undead vibes, which was why I was like, like
Seaside,
Dead Man's Wharf,
yeah.
I'm all for it, but I was not the biggest fan of Vikings Undead.
I don't
Just
think a
gonna
lot
throw
of
that
people
out.
were, but I feel like maybe in a house it can be executed a lot better. Or if they give us a different narrative, like they could give us a Viking story arc or like Norse mythology kind of thing,
Yeah.
and put that into a house, which I think could actually do really well.
Mm-hmm.
But if they just do Vikings Undead in a house, I don't think it's gonna fly that well.
Yeah. I guess for me, again, it's like there's like I couldn't make a hype list right now because there's pretty much no information on the originals, of course. But the only reason why I would put it up there right now is because I think the setting is intriguing. I think having it in a soundstage could produce some pretty grand sets. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Just because there's not that much to go on. I don't know.
Giant duck.
Ooh, definitely gonna have a lot of wind and rain.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. Hold up. What
Hold
about
up.
what about SS Titanic? Choose your path house. Choose your path house. Let's go.
Bring back the Forsaken.
I wish that would be all.
No.
No.
I do think that we will get the sideways room back in here.
Oh
The
yeah.
sideways
I
ship.
can see that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe you're entering the ship as it's docked, and then you're coming through the ship, and then leaving the ship and going into the city or the village, seeing where all this rampage has occurred due to the Vikings.
What do you think, Eddie?
So the sideways ship is what I think about. And I would love to see that again back at the event because that was probably one of the best like scenic designs, as well as a really good like flooring for a scare. When they catch you on that, it really catches you off guard. And I can imagine there's going to be 100% a great white shark in this.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Oh my god. The giant great white shark puppet.
Yes.
Are we shouting out
Jaws
Sir
House.
Henry's with that? We're shouting out Sir Henry's with that.
Yeah.
Shout out my trail. Shout out my trail.
Yep. They have proof of concept that a Jaws house would work.
Yeah,
Facts.
I think a Jaws house would work.
Jaws to the moon.
Jaws to the moon, baby. Jaws
One
to the
day,
moon.
guys. It's gonna happen one day.
And
So
put it
moving
in
on.
Diagon Alley.
Yeah. So moving on to the next location. This would be where Tooth Fairy was last year, and that is Netflix's Fear Street. To me, these movies were pretty good, but even though I wasn't like over the moon about them, I was watching and thinking like, yeah, this is pretty much begging to be a haunted house. Like there's just so much potential there. What do you guys think?
Eddie, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Fear Street. So I would like to see how they transition from each season. That would be super cool in the house, and how they bring it all together like they did in the anthology. I think Netflix is an amazing like partnership that they have, but I also have heard that Fear Street could easily switch over to Stranger Things with the new season coming out.
What do you think, Mike?
I think they're gonna hold off on Stranger Things for the time being. I feel like they can squeeze more out of it if they hold off this year. I just, like I said in my second speculation video, I think that Fear Street is more of a time sensitive IP where if you don't use it sooner rather than later, people are gonna forget about it and the hype is gonna die down. Where right now it's just coming back. It's starting to come back down from its peak, because its peak was when it first came out last year. The hype leading up to it was the build up. When it came out, it was peaked, and now we're getting over that hill. And it's if they don't do it this year, it's probably not going to happen. But with Stranger Things, I Yeah, I think they could definitely split it up in 2 separate years and do it next year and the following year for parts 1 and 2.
Yeah. What do you think, Lash?
I
about
agree
Fear
with you on
Street?
Stranger Things. I know that if I'm not mistaken, they were supposed to be making a movie as well after they finished this last season.
For Stranger Things?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. You can fact check me. I'll probably check it myself. But
I thought I had heard at some point there
Wrong.
might be more.
Oh, man.
I maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I had heard that there might be more Fear Street content at some point too.
That's
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
So honestly,
So-
if they bring in Fear Street right now, I see them doing it the same way they did American Horror Story, transitioning it season by season with a nice little like entrance into the next year or next like movie.
Yeah.
So I see us starting in the 90s. Was it the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
90,
94?
94,
94,
78, and 66. 16,
Yeah.
66. Yeah.
16, yeah. So transitioning, going backwards, and then the same way they came out, the same order. I'm really excited for this. Ever since this came out, I thought it could work perfectly as a haunted house. The different characters, the scenery, everything could just mesh so well. And I think it'll be a perfect like love for horror between old, new, and then the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of homages to our classic horror films, like Friday the 13th and whatnot.
Scream
and Fear Street. Yeah, and Scream.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would say if it were me designing it, I think what I'd like to see is like I'd kind of like them to go year by year instead of movie by movie. Like I think it would be really cool if you started in 1666 and you went like chronologically through the Fear Street timeline. I think like entering through the church in 1666 would be a really cool way to start it off. And then you kind of, like I said, you go chronologically. That's how I would do it. But
end up at Slashback or whatever it's
yeah,
called.
yeah,
Whatever the movie's rental place is called.
Like that. That's the way I would do it. But I could see it going either way. But all we know for sure is that if this does happen, you probably will definitely get, all 3 movies in some capacity.
Especially with it being in a soundstage, I can see all 3 of them being together.
Yeah, I could see this being the longest house pretty easily.
Perhaps.
Yeah, just because of the amount of content. Mega house, fierce
Mega
house.
Just throw it in the back soundstage. What is that soundstage?
25.
25. Just throw it in there, and there you go. Mega house.
So, speaking of sound stages, we have one more left, and this is in the place of where
the last
Icon
one.
was.
It's the last one.
The last soundstage house is The Last of Us. And I think if there's anything on here that I'm skeptical about it actually happening, it would be this, just mainly because of the delay in the series to 2023. But if it were to happen, it would be very, very high on my hype list personally. I think it would be sick. I want video game houses back. I want video game houses, and this could be a nice little way to, check the interest of that and see, because I'd love to see like BioShock or Dead Space at some point. But what do you guys think? Last of Us.
I'm 100% with you on that boat. I feel like this is here to open the door, but with the series being pushed back a year, I'm not sure what can happen, but this is V1 again. Who knows what can happen? Cool. I think as a house, it'll be a nice reintroduction to zombies, because we haven't had zombies at the event in a while. So I feel like it's a nice way to bring them back.
Even though we haven't had them in a while, it still feels overdone. It's just that long stretch, man. Really overdid it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even here for it.
I went to almost every single year that we had it. I mean, I don't think it's that bad.
No, I love The Walking Dead.
I despise The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead years were the stuff, man.
If it weren't for The Walking Dead, I don't think we would have had most of the houses we have right now.
Yeah, The Walking Dead opened up the floodgates for
it opened up the IP doors. Yep.
The Walking Dead was awesome, dude.
I won't say it didn't do that, but The Walking Dead is kind of ass.
You said the same thing about a house last year that you ended up loving, so.
Oh, no. I despise The Walking Dead.
You said the same thing about a house last year that you ended up loving.
Yeah, but that's
Hill
different.
House.
Yeah.
That's different.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
One
This is almost
ghost and one
identical.
That is a one-off TV series that then they made a different story comparative to a long over drawn out series about fucking zombies. How many seasons can you go on talking about the exact same goddamn thing?
About 36.
Yep.
They need to stop.
Hey, Grey's Anatomy has been around for God knows how long.
And that's also the same thing.
Give me a Grey's
Stop.
Anatomy house.
Just stop.
Grey's Anatomy house.
We need a Grey's Anatomy house. That's
Oh
right.
my gosh. Speaking of things that are cursed, in the Men in Black tent, potentially, is the curse of Pandora's box. And for those of you who don't know, this was an original in Hollywood for a couple years. So this would be Orlando's interpretation of that. So, yeah, what do you guys think?
No, what do you think? What do you think?
What do I think about?
Yeah, you start.
Okay, I mean, I think the Hollywood version looked pretty cool, and
which year?
Weren't they like the same?
It was the same exact house.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I was going crazy for a second there, but okay. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it'd be cool to see our interpretation of it. I think it's really interesting that Hollywood is currently rumored to have Scarecrow, the Reaping. So it'd be like they get an interpretation of an Orlando original. We get an interpretation of a Hollywood original. I think it'd be cool. You know, again, I don't know how high it would be on the hype list compared to some of the other stuff on here, but I think it'd be very interesting to see our take on, because obviously every year you get to see like the IP comparisons, but it'd be interesting to see how we take essentially a Hollywood original concept and make it Orlando. So I think it'd be cool. I'd be very interested to see how it would go.
I will say this: when this maze, or if this maze gets announced for Orlando, I already know exactly what's going to happen after the event. We're going to get Eddie and Tony on a podcast filming a coast comparison for the curse of
East versus
Pandora's
West.
Box.
That's true, Eddie. I bet Eddie's really hoping for it because then it's like a free video.
It'll be really cool to see.
This is what I'm saying on this one. If there were any house from the West Coast that I wanted to come over to the East Coast, this would be the damn last one.
Michael was like, "Let's go, baby."
I know. I saw his face.
No.
Now
Get out. Get out.
We got Get Out. So
No, we didn't.
No, we got Us. My bad.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Speaking of, there's talks of Us getting his new movie too, but Pandora's Box is a concept that I would rather just see us do completely original. You know, it could be Pandora's Box, but I don't want it to be us getting a version or our version of their Pandora's Box. I like the lore and everything behind Pandora's Box. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of their house, but I only saw it online. So
Michael, would you like to retaliate?
I thought that was one of their cooler original ideas over the past couple of years. I really hope that we expand on the idea and go full potato mode and do 3D as well.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask is, do you guys think
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Give us a 3D house of Pandora's Box. I'm here for it.
That's something
That's what I was
I'd be
gonna ask.
intrigued in.
Yeah,
Give us a little bit of a difference
Yeah.
between the two coasts. Give us some 3D in it. Like I liked some of the scares that they did in the house. Some of the scares that they really did in the house, they really helped with the blending of the scare actors into the scenes where like they had multiples of things and one of them was actually a scare actor. Like I really loved the use of that in that house. And I loved a lot of the actual like characters that they had in the house over at California. So I'm really interested to see whether we get something completely original just based on the kind of the same storyline, or if it's literally just almost an exact rip of Hollywood's.
Yeah.
I feel like Orlando fans are gonna get pissed when the trailer drops and it's the exact same trailer that Hollywood's used twice already.
Yeah.
That's just gonna be a
you already
iteration.
know, dude. You already know.
It's going to. Come on.
And just to kind of clarify, I'm not saying that this is the worst house they've ever had. I'm just saying it definitely wouldn't be close to anywhere near the one that I would choose to bring over from over there.
Holidays in Hell?
I picked
Clowns?
Hell no.
3D?
La Llorona.
We already had La Llorona.
We already had it.
I didn't experience it.
Year.
I didn't experience it.
First house.
I didn't experience it.
Well, now we got to fly out to California and do it if it actually happens. I'm gonna say it on this podcast. If La Llorona gets announced for Hollywood, that's gonna be my very first house to do in Hollywood to kind of go full circle with my fandom, no matter where it is.
You know, speaking of legends, the next house, which is set up in what was that? Wicked Growth's tent, just according to this spec map.
Spring tent 1.
Yes, that is in the Wicked Growth.
Yes.
Growth.
So this would be the currently speculated El Chupacabra original. Well, let's start with Adrian. What do you think?
Me?
Yeah, you can start.
With my first.
I don't know if we've had you start yet.
With my first house being an urban legend house, I would definitely love this to happen. If they stay true to El Chupacabra and don't go El Cucuy route, it'll be very nice to have a completely fresh take on something we've never seen at Horror Nights on either coast. I think it can be done really well. They know how to handle this lore when it comes to urban legends, so I think it'll just be knocked out of the park.
So for the greater part of my young years, El Chupacabra was a real thing and was on Telemundo all the time. They had sightings of it crossing the street everywhere. So I was actually terrified of this thing growing up. And if it was nighttime and I heard rustling in the bushes, I was like, El Chupacabra! Ah! Run! So just off of the nostalgic fear that I had of this particular creature growing up, I would love to see this come to Halloween Horror Nights.
Now, I will say, so Chupacabra, I mean, we know what it looks like, roughly. Do we think they're going to go the line of puppets for it?
They could. Or
do you think they're going to go the line of demi-dog puppets?
I think they could, but I also think that they could kind of twist it into their own version of the Chupacabra.
That would be the only way that I could see them possibly ruining this for us, is if they go.
If it's just all puppets.
If it's just all demi-dog puppets, but just the Chupacabra instead.
I could see them doing some freaky man Chupacabra hybrid type of deal. Put their own little spin on it. I mean, the Tooth Fairy is kind of an urban legend, and they put their own spin on what a Tooth Fairy is.
This is true.
So I don't know. I think it could be interesting, and obviously those two sprung tents are always,
Bangers.
up there with the scariest houses at the event.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, very close quarters and everything. So I think it could be a pretty scary one.
I will say, there have been rumors and confirmed. We don't like to use that word, but confirmed. People have been saying that sprung tent in particular is supposed to be the scariest house this year yet again. That people are saying that people on the inside have already said, yeah, that's going to be supposedly the scariest one.
I never believe people when they say that. Let me give you a quick story time while we're doing this. Back in 2009, when did we have Depths of Fear?
That was 29, right?
2019. Yeah. Okay, so back in 2019, before the event started, a friend of mine said, Depths of Fear is the scariest house you'll ever see. I walked in there and it looked terrifying. And I'm like, that's a load of baloney. After I went through it, you know what I'm saying?
This is a load of barnacles.
Never go off of someone else's opinion until you form your own. Go through that house and then see how scary it truly is.
Well, they also
just Boobro opinion. Just take the Boobros.
Just take our opinion.
Yeah, just take our word.
Well, yeah. We know what we're talking about.
And I remember a lot of the speculation going into 29 was that Nightingale's was going to be the scariest house.
It smelled the scariest.
Which it did smell the scariest, but that was about it. It was not the scariest house. But then again, everyone has a different scariest house. It's which one gets you the most. I think for me that year, the house that got me the most was probably Yeti. But I don't know that it was scary. It just got me a lot. So maybe because it had creative scares. I don't know. And even when you look at 30, everyone was saying like Wicked Growth is going to be the scariest house, and it was my favorite. But for me, the scariest was Hill House. The one that scared me the most was Hill House. So it kind of is going to vary from person to person on that one. Kind of depends on what scares you, maybe.
What really scares me?
What's that?
The fear of things that you don't know, things that might be underneath you. And with that, we're moving on to our next sprung tet.
Wow.
Which is called,
look at these transitions.
Which is called Underground Creatures, which is a completely original idea. And honestly, these kind of things are the ones that get me a little bit more excited.
Completely original.
By the way, this is in the other sprung tent location, right? Right.
Yeah.
Where
Puppet Theater was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've heard some things about this one. So it's gonna be a spin off of Tremors, and there's gonna be a Kevin Bacon doll inside of it.
Ooh, Kevin Bacon.
No. I've heard
It's
7 degrees of the house.
It's just Gremlins with an overlay of random other things.
No. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ooh.
Underground creatures.
You guys ever hear the movie Chud?
It's a no-brainer.
Chud, yeah.
It's gonna be Chud.
Why?
So, what if this is a misunderstanding of a leak, and it's actually a creature house?
Maybe.
What if it's the remember, I don't think we ever put that video up. So Mike, Horror Nights Unscripted, I had a house concept called Universal Monsters Creature Feature.
Yeah.
What if that's something like that, like what Eddie's saying?
Yeah.
We can have mole people.
It could be.
I think it's pretty much like safe to say that out of everything on the spec map, this is probably the most open for interpretation right now.
Yeah.
It's just creatures that are underground. I mean, that could mean literally anything at this point.
Giant cockroaches.
Would not like that very much.
Humid subtropical centipedes.
That would probably be the all-time scariest house.
Underground.
Centipede. Whoa.
So besides Chud and Tremors and mole people, what else could this be? Maybe like, maybe going off that mole idea, maybe like bat people.
I got it. I know what
like
it is.
Batman.
I know what it is.
Hive.
It's an Alaskan bull worm.
Who?
Yes.
Imagine just a gigantic.
That's the facade. That's the facade.
Yeah, you just walk into a worm.
Mouth.
Oh my god.
No,
it's just Hive part 2.
All right, in the trend of talking about things that are ridiculous and pretty funny for the most part, we move into a movie that is also pretty ridiculous and pretty funny. The 1981 classic, or what you call it? It's a classic.
Yeah, I'd say it's a classic, yeah.
Located in a parade building. This was where we housed Hill House?
I think it's the Hill House one.
Where Hill
based
House
on
was
this map,
housed.
yeah.
The Evil Dead.
Yes.
We've had Evil Dead in 2013. We had Ash versus Evil Dead in 2017. I think it's about time that we finally got the Evil Dead.
The OG.
Now here's my question to you three before we... I'm sorry. My question to you three. Will this just be the Evil Dead? Or will it be the Evil Dead trilogy? What do you think?
I think it will be maybe 1 and 2. I don't know. Which is kind of like funny because if I had to pick any of them, I'd probably pick Army of Darkness. I'm going to be honest. I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan. I think it's all right. It's not my favorite, but I do think it would, be a good house, and it's an undeniable classic, and it's a big IP that people are going to want to see. So, I'd be excited for it. Not, very high on the hype list, but yeah, I think it'd be cool. And I do hope that 2 is represented because I do like the second movie a little bit more than the first one.
I would love to see Army of Darkness represented.
Yeah, Army of Darkness especially, but because that's actually my favorite of the 3, to be honest. But what do you guys think, Mike, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm gonna say if they're not gonna do a singular movie, they're probably gonna do 1 and 2. They have to include 2 in there somewhere just because. Isn't it the 35th anniversary of the film this year?
I believe so, yeah.
Of the second one?
Mm-hmm. I think it's around that time frame, more or less.
Yeah. So I mean, it would make sense if they included the second one in there somewhere, or if not, parts of the second one, just the house being the second one in general. That would be because isn't the second one a little bit more of the on
It's
the more comedy
it's
side?
comedic. Yeah, the second one's
Yeah,
more
it's a bit.
comedic.
Yeah, a
That
bit
could
more,
be
yeah.
our comedy house of the year, I guess.
I personally am never the biggest fan of the comedy house. Astro's Evil Dead was probably my least favorite house of any particular year. And like you, Connor, I'm not the biggest fan of the Evil Dead, but I am a fan of bringing classics to the event. So I'm kind of with it.
Yeah, and well, then the other thing to remember is, even if the movie isn't really my favorite, it's like, what do you really need to translate a property into a house? It's pretty much just like character design, set design.
Yeah.
As long as the movie has that, from there, it's like, what can Universal do with it? So, and Michael knows that better than anybody else. So,
Burn.
So I mean, I could go through it and decide it's an absolute banger.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't the biggest fan of the House of a Thousand Corpses movie, but the house was a banger.
I can agree
So
with
there
you
you
on
go.
that. You know what else was a
That
banger?
movie's great.
You guys know what else is a banger?
Come on. What transition are you doing now? Come on.
We had a fantastic reboot back in 2018.
And then a not so fantastic sequel.
Hey man, hey, don't hate on the
It's
sequel.
a filler movie, and you know it.
It's a filler waiting for
It is.
kills. We all know it's a filler.
It's a filler movie, and you know it.
It is.
So
You
located
cannot
where we
judge it
had
based on it
Mike's
being an
favorite house
actual.
last year. What?
What?
Wait,
What
what?
happened? What happened?
Located where we had Mike's favorite house last year.
Oh yes,
You know-
the Haunting of Hill House.
No, Beetlejuice.
Or no, Beetlejuice. Never mind.
We
I thought
had
we were being
house-
literal for a second there.
Fuck that house. Waste of space.
We have Halloween, and let's be honest with ourselves here. Do we really think it's the Blumhouse Halloween, or do we think it's Halloween 5?
Either way, it's probably number 10 on the hype list for me.
No.
I don't know.
No,
Last
they
time we had
can't.
Halloween on a spec map, it was just like this exact font. Everyone thought it was going to be Halloween 2018, and it ended up being Halloween 4.
It can't be 5. It can't be 5 because then they'd be diving in the whole Thorn storyline, and that's just too much of a wormhole for them to go down right now.
That's what you think. They could just do like
No. Make it either the trilogy of 2018 and all of them, or make it 3.
I think
and then just end it there. Just kill off Michael Myers and that's it. They never need to bring him back.
Michael Myers never dies.
this is true. And
We don't
until,
need-
until another
tonight.
decade from now when there's a whole new
He
reboot.
dies tonight.
I think this is like, it's Michael Myers. It is what it is.
It is
But
what it
I
is.
will say there's undeniable synergy with the Halloween franchise and HHN 31, and the fact that Halloween Ends does come out this year. So I can understand the synergy there for sure, even though it doesn't exactly excite me, on paper. I'd still be, it's always kind of a fun novelty thing to get scared by Michael Myers,
Yeah.
but
I personally am a huge fan and have a huge bias towards Michael Myers. But if I had
he
to choose, it would be 2018's Michael Myers. That would be freaking spectacular. I would blow a gasket if they announced that. He could do no wrong.
except for the times where he did.
All right.
Yeah, but even when he does wrong, he doesn't do wrong. See, when he's right, he's right. When he's wrong, he's right. And when he was right, but he was wrong, he could have been right.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I
Sounds like
here's
pizza.
the thing that I want to point
It's
out.
not The Thing. It's Halloween. Wrong
Shut
John
up.
Carpenter film. All right.
Shut up. Here's the thing that I want. Here's the thing I want to point out though. If they do 2018 kills and ends, that is going to be a dark ass house. Like not as in like lighting, as in like a lot of blood and gore.
Murder.
A lot of murder, a lot of blood and gore, because Halloween Kills was literally that was it. The movie was just bloodshed. And that was about all there was in that movie.
Now, what if they don't want to dive into Ends, right? Yeah, Ends is the last
Ends
one.
is this, yeah.
And they decide to go the route of doing Halloween 2018, and then Halloween Kills.
To bringing the 78, 2018, and Kills all in the same house.
Yeah, like showing the end.
Or they could skip Kills and just
Well-
put Ends in, like they should have done with the movies.
No. I see. Here's the thing. I don't. They might. No, it would just be I would think that they would just do 2018 and Kills, and then probably the outside projection facade of it would probably just be a trailer of Ends that comes out this year.
Yeah, I could see
And
them
then
putting
and then next year maybe we get Ends.
I could see them putting like a little stinger for Ends at the end, like they did with the Saw House back in 27.
Yeah,
where they had like the little scene or two from the Saw movie. But I do think they wouldn't want to give away too much of Ends because it does come out pretty deep into the event.
A trailer house.
Yeah.
So, like you just said, you threw the Saw concept out there. Saw featured the best traps from that house. What if Halloween shows the best kills from Michael Myers over the years?
That's true. We haven't had a Halloween house do that yet. So that could be an interesting idea.
It's a possibility. Cool. All these are possibilities.
Greatest hits. I think if they're gonna do a greatest hits Halloween house, it should be like the last one they do.
Yeah.
You know, put a bow on it.
Put a bow, wrap it up, send it home. 4 house is good enough.
You know, I do want to say though, Kills may have been a very terrible filler movie. But if you think about it in terms of a Halloween Horror Nights house, there's a lot of stuff to go on, especially with the flashback scenes that would work really well and cater to that whole nostalgia of the original movie. It allows you to it would be a big drawing factor for that house. Because I feel like if they include a lot of the flashback scenes, it would help make that house at least a little better than just it being Kills, which was not great.
Yeah. Well, unless anyone has anything else to say about Halloween, we have one more house, and I think we probably saved the most interesting one for last. Not only is this interesting because of the property, but the location is a little different. Normally, this is where we would talk about the Shrek house, which is currently not listed on this speculation map because of the ongoing construction going on in the Shrek building with whatever's going to replace that. And this is supposed to happen in the Fear Factor. Why do I keep saying that? Not Fear Factor.
Fear Factor Live.
The Fast and Furious location, which is interesting. How are they going to utilize the ride path, the queue? I don't know. But it's pretty wild that we're going to have a totally off-the-wall new house location, according to this rumored map.
And a new seasonal ride.
And a new seasonal ride if this does come to fruition, yes.
Someone did say something about a team member confirming that location being under construction soon.
I can read that for you. The
exact
thing you're talking about. I have it right
here.
Yeah,
someone who posted that on Twitter today.
It wasn't yesterday. It was actually Monday. Today's Wednesday. It was horror happenings with the dead girl.
Yes, that one.
And she said, and I quote, "Excuse me, because I do not know how to read well. So here comes my bad grammar. I dropped out of college, not high school. I graduated high school." As some of you may know, due to the construction happening at the Shrek attraction, Halloween Horror Nights will not be able to use the Shrek Theater to hold one of their houses this year, as they do in years past. Where would they be placing the house if not in Shrek? Our sources at Universal have confirmed that beginning today, Monday, March 14th, The Fast and Furious attraction is undergoing some modifications to make room for a house at this year's Halloween Horror Nights event. Don't worry, the attraction will be open to daytime guests.
That's enough of a.
Interesting.
She told me don't worry about it. She told me don't worry. No more.
No more.
No more.
I see where you're going with that.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't feel my face when I'm with you.
But
Wow. I actually have a shirt from that concert in my closet. So I could probably have 2 shirts now if he comes to the event too, right?
Yeah. And if I go by myself, it's because I left my girl back home.
It's funny because it's true.
On that note, the rumored property is the Weeknd. The
ladies and gentlemen, the Weeknd.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's gonna be based off the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
If this house happens, that's what Universal should tweet. Like no press release, nothing, just that video.
That would be so
ladies and
iconic.
Gentlemen, the
The
Weeknd.
Weeknd.
And I think,
and it's just Halloween Horror Nights, the Weeknd underneath of it, and they just play blinding lights. That's it.
No concept. We don't know anything about the house until we walk through that house.
Exactly.
It's
That's
true.
all they give you.
And
speaking of
Daniel Craig,
kind of to actually build
ladies
on
and
that,
gentlemen, the Weeknd.
To actually like build on that a little, that kind of is the case because I mean, we really don't know what to expect from this house, and that's what makes it so exciting for me. I don't even really listen to the Weeknd, but it's like this is pretty much an original when you think about it. So it's like, who knows what it's going to be? Who knows what they're going to come up with for this? It could be anything. Obviously, you're going to put the Weeknd's name on it because it's really marketable. But when you walk through the house, it could be literally anything. Yeah. So
his After Hours album was pretty dark and bloody, and it was a really cool series if you watch the music videos through. And it only gets worse. Like, he gets bloodier and gets more messed up if you're watching it through. And then they had that tweet.
I was about to talk about it.
I'll let you talk about it. But they had that tweet that showed, and he actually ended up liking it.
I'll show it. Oh, he responded.
He retweeted it. He quote tweeted it.
I'll put it on the screen now so you guys can see it.
Yeah, too much glare. But basically, somebody said the Weeknd isn't horror, the Weeknd's not scary, something to that nature, and he retweeted it. And it was a Horror Nights page, right?
To add to that,
an official Horror Nights.
Wasn't it Freaks of HHN?
No, it was Horror Night Nightmares, the same people that made the speculation map. But to add to that, he responded to that. Someone responded to that tweet and said, "I don't think anyone said that, but go off." To which he responded again, saying, "Oh, they'll try soon. Trust me, just got to remind them."
I'm gonna be honest.
This man.
I'm gonna be honest. I have been slowly warming up to the Weeknd. When After Hours came out, I was like, all right, I see you. And then Dawn FM, absolutely loved that album. And because the whole synthwave vibe it's my jam.
He is a synthwave guy, if you guys didn't know this.
I am a synthwave guy.
Watch almost any of his videos, you'll hear a synthwave in there.
That is my jam. So I would like to see what they do with this house. I'm interested. When initially it was talked about, I was like, I don't know how much horror, but like then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, the After Hours music videos were that whole story was kind of dark.
And it doesn't even just start there. If you go back and look at some of his old videos, it gets deep. There's a Bloody Disgusting post out there that, like, the website Bloody Disgusting, which I'll link down below. If you guys want to see all of the horror in his videos, watch that. Like, go there and look at everything in there, and you'll see how like dark this man's been since the beginning, and it's pretty awesome.
And I think just as a general concept, I think Universal taking something like this and turning it into a haunted house is so intriguing because it's so different. Like, what are they going to do with it? Obviously, there was rumors about and pretty strong rumors about a different musical artist in a previous year. We didn't get to see how that was going to be executed. So I actually would really like to see it happen this time because I just would be very fascinated to see what they do with it. especially in this rumored totally off the wall location. I think this house will be relatively high on my hype list just off that alone. Like just to see what could happen with this. I'll really be wanting to go through something like that when it comes to opening night. Like I'll be really itching to see what they did.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of like an 80s, 70s or 80s synthwave slasher vibe from this whole entire thought. Like from this whole entire like idea of it. I'm like just a lot of like neon lights, kind of.
It could be a real banger.
And like just he has like his own original character in there.
Blinded by the lights.
I could see this turning out to be a sleeper. I'm gonna be honest.
I will say this: The Weeknd has one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song. None of you know the song because none of you listen to The Weeknd. It's from an old album. I've always loved The Weeknd since he's debuted back in the day. Like I'm talking about like House of Balloons and Trilogy and everything from back then. I love this man. So the fact that he's going to come to Horror Nights has me excited and scared for the fact that if this house doesn't do well, it's not going to change my opinion of him. It's just going to make me think of him, like the house, whenever I think of him, and I'm just going to be a little disappointed.
What is this? What's your favorite song?
I'm not going to tell you guys. You guys have to find out yourself.
Then how do you know that we don't know it?
Okay, throw me Weeknd songs. Throw me Weeknd songs.
No, I'm not going to do that. You throw me the Weeknd song.
No.
Yeah. I'm not going to throw you Weeknd songs. You throw me one Weeknd song.
Give us multiple choice.
On my next video that I post, which will be
I got a Weeknd song.
Park, I will talk about it.
I got a Weeknd song for you. It's called Friday by Rebecca Black.
No way, dude.
Actually,
Fridays are technically the weekend.
It's actually no. How about
song. Fine. Saturday by Rebecca Black.
She has a song named Saturday?
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Look it up.
Well,
look it up.
I'm just gonna play Manic Monday the day after Horror Nights ends because of the weekend's gonna be done.
No. Halloween's on a Monday.
But Horror Nights is regardless. Horror Nights is ending on a Monday. It's gonna end on a Sunday or a Saturday. It's not ending on Monday. So the Monday after, I'm gonna play Manic Monday.
I don't know, man. The dates are gonna be weird. The dates are gonna be weird this year because of Halloween ending on a.
It's gonna go through the first weekend of November like it always does. Besides when it ended on Halloween.
I don't think so, man.
What is, speaking of that, typically the first announcement has the dates. When do you guys think that's gonna happen? What's your prediction?
Tomorrow.
And do you think it'll be
next week?
Do you think it'll be
tomorrow
in conjecture with a house?
The dates tomorrow.
The weekend.
The weekend. It'll happen on the weekend.
Okay. No, it's gonna be the weekend on the weekend.
If they announce the weekend on a weekday, that'd be so annoying.
Announce it Friday.
Y'all never saw that coming.
Man's been too active for them not to announce somthing about his house.
I know. Weekend's out here like leaking everything.
I know.
Like
I honestly expected them to steal HN Nightmare's thunder today.
He's like Tom Holland.
That would have been
Spider-Man.
Oh my god!
He was like maybe today about releasing the Spec Man. I was like, I could just feel HHN being like, I see you and I raise you an announcement.
Bro,
get out of here.
That's a nice Spec Mac.
Nice Spec Mac you have there. How about I just ruin it by announcing something that isn't on it?
Announcing the Scarezones that are not on it.
That'd be so funny.
What if they did shit backwards and they
that'd be something that Chad would do. That'd be something that Chad would definitely do.
Yeah.
So I will say
for those who know Chad, shout out to you.
Shout out Chad.
Shout out Chad.
Shout out Derek.
I will say with the scare zones, by the way, just to quickly gloss over it, there's nothing in terms of rumors as of now.
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
Chucky.
You guys ever play Pokemon?
What?
There's
Pokemon.
5 of them right there. Unknown. There's 5 unknowns.
Unknown.
Oh, shit,
unknown.
yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about Chucky, man?
I swear,
Chucky.
if they put Chucky back in the street, man.
I
How
am
you doing? What's your name?
Where you from?
Where you from?
What's your name?
I will
that must
say,
suck.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I am a little surprised though that Chucky's not on this map
at
Like-
all and hasn't been speculated since
Yeah,
the
because
beginning
the
of the
series
year.
was
I'm
like
sorry.
surprisingly successful, like in terms of numbers.
I forgot to
And,
say
like-
one thing about the Weeknd.
Mm.
I feel like they might have his music featured in Marathon.
Yeah, and that's another thing in
Don't
terms
have
of
that dark
shows.
loop.
Currently, Marathon is the only show on the spec map as of right now. So
Unless
obviously
it's
the
all a
Weeknd
joke
will,
and it's just
obviously
an
the
every
Weeknd
night,
would be
it's an every
represented
night
in that.
weekend concert at that J location. It's not a house.
Dawn
it's just a
FM
concert.
Park Loop.
That might be a
That's
bit
what I
expensive
need.
to get him to have a residency here for 2 months.
No, it's not really him though. It's just some guy with a wig.
Or a like Tupac
Just like
projection.
Marshmallow. Just like Marshmallow.
like a projection.
Marshmallow's never actually at any of his concerts.
It's
He
just some
pays
guy with a
someone to-
helmet.
She just pays someone to press buttons and wear a helmet.
I mean,
He's like the Blue Man Group. There's like 10 of them.
There's more
This
than
is
10.
true.
It's like
You guys
any
remember-
mascot ever.
Do you guys remember like years ago when there was
Mascot.
rumors that Steve from Blue's Clues left to join the Blue Man Group? Did you guys ever hear about
Yes.
that? That was
No.
something, right?
Bro, you
I
never
don't.
heard
It
that
wasn't
shit?
true, but that was a thing that people were saying.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, funny enough, the original Steve graduated from my high school.
Really?
Now you guys know where
Yeah.
Michael went to high school. Look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Steve. Oh, shit, what's his last name?
Steve Harvey.
No,
Yeah, I don't think that's it.
I can't remember. Yeah, but he
I'm sorry.
actually
I'm sorry, wrong
he
answer.
actually became a DJ.
DJ Khaled?
Yeah, Steve from
Maybe
Blue's Clues
maybe
became a
DJ
DJ.
Khaled. Maybe DJ Khaled could get a house one year, guys. What do you think?
No.
No. I
Another
really
one.
think I think
We the
actually-
best.
It would just be
Another
him.
one.
It would just be
We
him
the
ripping off other
best.
people's houses.
We the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
We the best
Another
music.
one.
Another
Yeah,
one.
just to quickly
That's
touch
part
on
of his
Zone.
contract. If you
I
get me to do a house,
appreciate that.
you got to do a house with me every year, so I could always be like another one.
Just to quickly touch on the zones. Obviously, like I said, nothing rumored right now. All the locations are unknown. All the locations are the same locations as we had last year. Is there any type of zone you guys would like to see? Because I would love to see some sort of like traditional Halloween type of zone this year, just because it's 31 and it would make way too
Yeah.
much sense.
Bring the
pumpkins
pumpkins back in the tree.
Look at
Put the
that.
pumpkins back in the tree.
Put the
Yeah.
pumpkin lord in the scare zone.
Hey,
Ooh.
yes.
I am Halloween.
Hey, where like the
Honestly-
Terror Queen stage was, and just put the pumpkin lord there.
Honestly,
go.
I'd like to see the witches that were in Wicked get a scare zone.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, what, if they,
pretty one, yes.
what if they did a Salem
Or if-
scare
or-
zone?
Or if,
That'd be cool.
Salem witch trials
Or
scare
if,
zone.
they, or if they give us some kind of like scary tales in the streets. Again,
I just want the pumpkins back up there.
Scary
They can do
tales.
whatever they want on the street.
There's got to be some sort of traditional Halloween stuff at 31 for the scare
Yeah.
zones. They just got to.
So witches, warlocks.
Lion Witch in the wardrobe.
Well, maybe
I
not.
could see like witches, pumpkins. Maybe, just maybe, call me crazy, but a scare zone of the year a few years ago was Trick or Treat. It
I
could
mean, I
come
wouldn't be
back.
mad. I wouldn't be
It could
opposed.
probably come back.
I don't
I
see
get
it happening, but I would.
You never know. It is a popular thing.
It was.
What about if they did a Halloween scare zone, like a Michael Myers scare zone?
Oh, that would be
There would be-
different.
It would be very similar to a trick or treat scare zone.
What could you have in there besides Michael though? And
Lori
Jamie,
just
I
running.
guess?
My
Kids-
God, no.
No kids trick or treating,
Oh,
walking
Evil
through
dies
Haddonfield.
tonight.
no.
Yeah,
Evil dies
No.
tonight. Evil.
There are certain IPs that just would not work in the streets, and that would be one of them.
Like Trick or Treat's a perfect
Halloween
one for
3.
the streets. Halloween
Huh?
3 could actually
Halloween
work
3 would work.
Yeah, maybe maybe out in San Fran.
way to renege on what you just said, Mike, in like 2 seconds.
Hey, Halloween 3 is different than the rest of the Halloween franchise.
It's still Halloween.
No.
I didn't specify.
You
Eddie
said
meant
Michael
Halloween
Myers.
3 the
That's
whole time.
specified enough.
Michael Myers is in Halloween 3.
He's on the TV in a bar. Get
Uh,
out of here.
It doesn't matter. He's in it.
And it's not even it's not even part of the movie. He's just playing the first movie on the TV.
Let's also make Connor happy. Killer Clowns back in the streets too. Yeah,
dude, I would love the Killer Clown zone back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Honestly, so Weeknd house, right? It'll probably exit right into Killer Clowns right there, right there, you know, and then just din, 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 din. You have a Weeknd synth wave that leads right into it. Oh,
I just don't
walk into it.
I just don't like the concept of having a house empty right into a zone right there.
Yeah, it is.
There's the thing. We also
it's gonna that zone is so congested to begin with.
It is. Yeah.
But we don't know where it's gonna exit though.
I have a feeling they're somehow gonna reroute the Fast and Furious and have you come down the path on the side.
Next to Diagon Alley?
No.
Where
like to the the path, like the path to backstage and to the left of Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's basically where the entrance is gonna be. So it's gonna basically be how they had the not run, but the house when they had in the disaster queue. So we had the disaster queue. The entrance was right next to the HR building, which is right there next to Fast and Furious, which is where those double doors are. That's going to be the entrance to the house.
No, the entrance to the house is going to be the queue for Fast and Furious.
I don't think so.
That's what I've been hearing.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. I'm just saying I don't think the entrance is going to be there. I think it'll be off to the side because. No, I honestly haven't heard anything about that. I just haven't. Entrance-wise, I haven't heard anything about it.
You definitely can't really like have the entrance or exit where like the actual Fast and Furious ride exits because it would just be insane. Because I mean that zone is always the most congested zone.
It could honestly be a walkway. So maybe the house would be like Eddie was saying, and you guys were all saying, like on the track itself. There is a doorway into that area on the side. So the house queue could probably be all set up on the side next to the first aid building. And then the exit be on the opposite side where the Amity Lobster Company is, like that big building. That way you can cut off traffic completely there, but also allows there to be a whole loop.
I wonder if they'll bring back Crypt TV for a Crypt TV does NFTs scare zone.
It's just give us an NFT scare zone. It's just screens, and we're not talking about seek and destroy.
It's literally just like random JPEGs, and they would be like, "Yeah, this is scary, guys," and then you'd be like, "I'm gonna screenshot it," and then they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call the police," and that would be that. On that note, that's the speculation map version 1.0. 1.0. So obviously, guys, nothing confirmed here. Any of this could change.
One thing is confirmed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The event's happening.
Horror Nights is happening.
Yes. And it's the 31.
Hopefully.
31. Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes. So that's that. My number one, if again, I'm not even really going to make a hype list based off of this. If I had to pick something that jumps out to me as the most interesting, it would probably be that Seaside Village idea. Honestly, the Monsters house would be pretty high for me because I just think that'll be interesting, and I think the Weeknd would be pretty high for me too, just because I'd be super intrigued.
So I guess we're all getting like a top 3, maybe.
Yeah, and I would say The Last of Us, but I don't know if it's actually gonna. I'm just not super confident in that, so I don't want to get my hopes up.
Mike, what's your top 3 out of what's there?
Jeez. Oh God, skip me.
Okay, Eddie, your turn.
All right, so I'll pick 2. So if I had to choose an IP, Fear Street. If I had to choose an original, El Chupacabra.
Okay. You want me to go, Mike? You said I'm prepared.
I'm still not prepared.
Okay. Are you looking up the map right now?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
We've just been
talking so long that I forgot.
All right. For me, it'll possibly be El Chupacabra, Evil Dead, and The Weeknd.
Shit.
And honestly, it's all seems like a solid lineup. I'd be completely okay if this is what happens, but things possibly will change, and this will probably not be our full lineup. But if this is our lineup, I think it's a pretty solid year, if I'm not gonna lie.
All right, I got Chupacabra, Fear Street, and then it's a toss up for number 3 between Monsters and Pandora's Box.
Okay. I like that all of us have different top threes. It really shows that we have different opinions.
Indeed.
Oh.
No love for the Seaside Village.
People with different opinions could come together
and get along
until the event starts and we're at each other's throat about the actual quality.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's later on.
Yeah.
Not right now.
That'll happen later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like last year.
Don't forget.
Was like,
to ask yourself, have you been entertained?
No,
what?
Positivity is key.
And yes, this
and
is
remember
true,
to keep
but
exploring.
I do think last year was like
Say hello.
there's a little bit more consensus among us. Maybe the
Among
order
us.
was among us. I wish that
Sus.
was out. No, I'm just kidding.
Sus.
I'm just kidding. But like in terms of like the bottom tier stuff, the mid tier stuff, and the upper tier stuff, we were all
we were all pretty much like agreed.
But maybe things rearranged a little bit.
Maybe this is the year we fight.
One of these years, there's gonna be something that like Eddie's got at number 9, and I'm like, nah, that's the best house.
Nah, dude, that is the best house I've ever walked in. He's
Goated.
Like, dog water.
It's gonna happen at some point. It has to. We can only go on like this for so long.
This is true. And speaking of going on for so long, I think we have reached the end of our podcast here. I had a great time. I've been Adrian. That's Eddie. That's Mike. And that is Connor. Thank you so much for tuning into the Boo Bros podcast. You guys are amazing. Stay spooky, everybody.
Stay hallowed.